another 2 books finished this week. One was a fantasy book from an author that can do no wrong in my eyes, and I loved it. And the other one was a big disappointment. It was a book from mine and Kez's horror challenge, and it was just such a letdown. Morning. It is that time of the week where I talk to you guys about a couple of books that I've managed to finish this week. Like I said in the intro, I finished 2 books. One was a fantasy and one was a horror. So let's get into it. Let's start off with talking about the horror book that me and Kez read, and that was Cows. We read this one on Tuesday. We did our usual book in a day challenge. I did go over to Kerry's to read this one because this one was one of our most anticipated reads that we would struggle with, especially as regards to it has a lot of animal cruelty within this one. So we thought if we're going to read it together, it will be better because we can support each other if we feel like it's too much or we can't get through it. However, we were sat on Kez's sofa reading and we were so bored by the 100-page mark. It was just not what we expected at all, considering all the negative reviews and people saying that they couldn't finish it and how disgusting it was. And it was all those things, but it was just pointless. So in this one, we are following our main character, Stephen. Stephen has definitely not got the best home life. His mother is vile. She is disgusting. She makes him eat very questionable food every day. He didn't even step outside until he was about 12 years old. She is just vile. And the way that she is described is just so gross. However, Stephen is 25 now. He's got his first job working in a abattoir. And yeah, it's nuts. He goes there to do things they do in an abattoir. Obviously, getting cows and that ready to be processed into meat. And yeah, he just thinks that he's going to work, he's going to be making some money. However, the men that work there have other ideas and use the cows for certain things that you shouldn't do to animals. Me saying that, you can probably gather what I'm saying. But Stephen has stepped into this world. He knows that there is, you know, a different kind of world out there, I guess. So when he does come back to his home each night, he is sort of questioning whether he can get rid of his mother. So yeah, it's just that, really. It was disgusting. There was a lot of repetitiveness within this one. Like, we read one scene that was disgusting and gross. But then we read the same scene again. Not 10 pages later, and then we read that page again another 10 pages later. So I think that is what really let this one down. I think because we had the shock factor of certain scenes and we were like, oh my god, that's gross or disgusting or whatever, but then by the time we'd read it like 4 or 5 times, it completely lost its shock factor, and it comes to the point where we were just like, oh great, this again. It also involved talking cows, which sounds wild, but Stephen is very messed up. So I think a lot of that is obviously to do with the trauma and everything that he has gone through. There is also a neighbour as well, which through a lot of it we thought she wasn't real. All Stephen wants out of life is to live a normal life, to have a wife and kids, but it's just not happening for him. He does kind of get that from his neighbour, I guess, but she is obsessed with surgery and she is convinced that she has a poison inside of her, so she spends a lot of the book exploring her own body, trying to find this poison that lies within her. So yeah, they're not the best match, to be fair, but we get through it. We got to about 100 pages in and it honestly felt like the book was wrapping up. You know, he had got rid of his mother, he had killed his mother, and he had completely turned his flat around. The only character I think I had any feelings for was the dog. But But yeah, he got what he wanted. He was living in his flat. He fell in love with the girl upstairs. She was pregnant. They were going to be having a baby together. He had everything he wanted. But because he'd been introduced to this horrific, tempting world with the cows, he threw it all away. And yeah, to be honest, I can't really tell you what happened in the last 100 pages because it was so dull and boring and repetitive, and it absolutely made no sense to the story whatsoever. Not that talking cows and doing grotesque things to the cows was, you know, normal reading. Yeah, it just made absolutely no sense. We rated this one 2 stars. We were very let down because of how much we were anticipating from this one. But there you go, it's another one read, it is ticked off our list, and hopefully the next book we choose is going to be so much better. With that being said, I can appreciate that a lot of people would struggle with this one and struggle to get through it. A lot of people have said that they couldn't continue because of how disgusting and upsetting it was, and I completely get that. But I think because me and Kez are so used to reading this sort of thing, we know what we are able to handle. So don't go into this one thinking what I've said is, you know, it could be like, it is great. Like, I'm not downplaying what it is. It is disgusting. It does include a lot of violence towards cows and a lot of sexual violence towards cows as well. So just because it didn't affect me in any way doesn't mean that it won't affect you. So yeah, I can see why people couldn't finish it. So sorry about the light as well. The sun just can't seem to decide what it wants to do, because if I shut the curtains, it's too dark, but if I leave them open, there's just too much sun. So we're just going to move on from that. Let's talk about a book that I did very much enjoy, and this is from an author that I absolutely love, and that is Throne of Secrets by Kerri Maniscalco. This is a spin-off series from the Kingdom of the Wicked, which holds such a big place in my heart. I am actually thinking of rereading Kingdom of the Wicked so that I can annotate it and pick out all my favourite parts. But this is book 2 from the spin-off series. I rated it 4 stars, so let's talk about it. So in this one, we are following our 2 main characters, Adriana and Gabriel. Gabriel is a prince of sin. His sin is gluttony, so his whole realm is the gluttony realm. And Adriana works for a newspaper. She is a journalist, and these two hate each other. She is going out of her way at any time she can to write such negative press about Gabriel because of something that happened 10 years ago when they were at a ball together. Something major happens within his realm, but it is not something that can be openly discussed, and they don't want it getting out to the rest of the public. So he does try and cover up what is going on by hosting a competition, if you like, to find a certain wife from all the other realms. So because of that, I got such Bridgerton vibes. And with Adriana being a journalist, I got a lot of Gossip Girls vibes as well. There were so many like newspaper articles and things like that within this one, which I very much enjoyed. But it also had a strong hint of Cinderella. But yeah, I loved it. I really enjoyed the magic within these books. I love the different realms as well. And I loved Adriana as a character. She was funny and, you know, she just brought so much to the book as well. And I loved Gabriel. He's very cocky, and I do kind of like that when it comes to princes and things. So that was such a big part of the book that drew me in. And the sexy scenes were very good as well, which I do think she writes a very good sexy scene anyway. So I was expecting this one to be just as good as the others. I'm just hoping that she's going to be bringing more out of these ones, because we did get quite an insight of the Prince of Sloth. And I think his will be good. He has this massive library and he just loves reading and being in there. And I think I could definitely get on board with that. So hopefully she will be bringing out more, because I will definitely enjoy them. So there you have it. Those are the 2 books that I've managed to finish this week. I have started Leather and Lark on my audiobooks, but that will be a few weeks before I finish that one. I am still reading the Dixon Rule as a buddy read, but I think we finished this one on Wednesday, so I will be talking to you guys about this one next Friday. And I've also started Wild Eyes, and I'm already so obsessed with this book. I'm about 80 pages in so far, and I cannot wait to just sit and properly get my teeth into this one, because I think I would fly through it. I just love Elsie Silver's writing. I love the relationships that she builds, and she has you like falling in love with not necessarily main characters but side characters as well. She does such a good job with that. So I will definitely get this one done by Friday as well. And like always, thank you so much for watching. If you're not already, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. I would very much appreciate it. And I will be back soon with another reading update. So I will see you then. Bye.